Right, the thermostat housing on the X19, and there are some culprits. Have a look at me because I've aged noticeably. I've got my beanie hat on, but if I took my hat on, you'd see there's probably no hair left. Oh, it's been a job. It's been a job, viewers. I fitted the thermostat housing, and I'll put my torch on. And to work on an X19 in winter in England, you need a powerful torch, and this one is good. I put the thermostat housing on, and as soon as I put it on and filled up the tank with water, there were leaks coming, and there were leaks coming from the side of it, and there were leaks coming from there, and I thought, oh, and it's hard to tell where leaks are coming from. And I thought, well, if it's leaking without the engine running, it's not going to, I have to have a think. So I thought, and I took the thermostat housing off, and I found that I hadn't cleared all the rest of the old gasket, and so and this torch helped me see that. I just with daylight had a look and didn't see, so I took it off and cleaned as clean as possible, with a scraper and that, a Stanley blade, and scoured it. Put it on and put the hoses on, and then it was leaking from these hoses, especially it's hard to find out where it is leaking from, but it seemed to be the bottom hose, and the more I tightened, the worse it was. And what I had done is I'd put some clamps on, brand new clamps, these ones, which were oversized. And you must never do that, I found out the hard way, because if you put oversized clamps and just tighten them up, and you can see how much they had to be tightened up, they make it worse. But luckily I'd ordered an elbow hose from Claire at Eurosports, and it had the correct size clamps. This has taken a couple of days to work out, and I'm still not certain if I've got it absolutely right. The bottom hose I thought I'd damaged in putting it on. I thought I'd folded it over and made a cut in it. And when I took it off and had a look, it wasn't. So I thought I was going to have to jack the car up and go underneath and put a new hose on, and then it could have leaked from the other side. I've been siphoning out the liquid, and I now know that coolant tastes of concentrated grapefruit juice. But I think I've got most of and I've put my mouth on there, clamped the relief hose there, and put my mouth on there and opened that little screw there and blew until water came out. That certainly pumped up my sinuses. But I think I've got it more or less watertight. But what a job. I mean, I'm glad I bought the new thermostat housing, but it's in such a position that it's really difficult to see where it's leaking. And once you get water somewhere, it could have come from higher up. But what a job, viewers. And if you're going to do it, I mean, in theory, it's not a hard job, but you need the exact right clamps, you need a good light, you need a piece of hose to siphon out this tank, rather than letting it all come out if you have to take it off again all over the floor and then buying new coolant. I'm worn out. I really am worn out. I'm not going to run the engine today and bleed it. I'm going to go under the bonnet and do the radiator. But the thermostat housing I'm convinced it was the right thing to buy a new one. Of course, it could have been gone inside, but the mend I made on the old one using JB Weld on the orifices there on the necks, that's held up pretty well. But the two spigots coming out here, the top and the bottom, they were absolutely gone, and they'll need to be replaced. But if I can get them off the old one, I'll replace them with, hopefully, polypropylene plastic ones or nylon ones that I can get, or some metal. But it's been 2 or 3 days of thinking, have I mended things wrongly? But I think that's what it was. I think, and when you put the thermostat housing on, while you've still got it loose and you haven't bolted it up, it's much better to put the hoses on then, much easier, before you bolt it onto the engine block. The holes in the engine block, that was another mistake. Putting copper grease on the bolts was good. They came out really well, and then they fouled it, so I had to get my tap and die set out and clean the bolts, and then I had to put a tap into the holes in the block and clean those out, and that was difficult because there wasn't enough space to put the handle on, and so I had to do it with a little adjustable spanner, half a turn at a time. But so they had to be cleaned out. Everything that could have gone wrong. Everything. And it was my fault partially because I wasn't checking this. If you've got a plastic tank, you can see just looking at it, where the liquid is. But this, you really need a dipstick. And I'm making one. I'm going to use the engine prop. But, I'd take the lid off. I could see liquid there. And I thought there was in. And it ran dry. And that was the problem. And it ran dry because it was leaking from those two hoses there. The top and the bottom hose coming out the tank. It wasn't leaking there. It was leaking from there, and that was just because they were 40-odd years old. So it's partly my fault. I should have checked that had enough liquid in with the dipstick. With a stainless steel tank, you must use a dipstick. And then it was those ones coming out there that had corroded, and it was gradually leaking. The bottom of the housing there was all pink, and it was leaking from there. So I'm tired. I'm going to go in and have a cup of tea and a sandwich or something like that. But I hope it helps you. It's not the housing from Claire is a really good one. You might be able to do up your old one. I'll do a video of me doing up the one I've got. But it does no harm. I mean, they're expensive, but where else are you going to get one? So there we go. That's the huge job. And if my voice sounds less than energetic, well, I've had it. Really, I have, viewers. Going to go inside and have like I say, a cup of tea and a sit down. And I'm not going to do this today, run it. I shall do that because it's so easy to make mistakes. Like I could have taken that hose off, that bottom big hose there, gone underneath the car, then found there was nothing wrong with it, then had a leak at the other end, as I said. Your thinking isn't clear when you're in a situation like this, but luckily I don't need it to go to work or anything. So I'll see if there's any more drips, but all the best to you, and thanks for the comments and things. I really do appreciate it. It's nice to know, if nothing else, that people care. I'm not on my own. My wife doesn't care that much about it, and I don't blame her. But anyway, there we are, viewers. Thanks for watching. And there's nothing like somebody's other problems to make you feel better anyways. So all the best to you from and this torch is really great. Without it, you're in. Here we are from grey Cornwall. And there's my cooler. There's the hose and all the different. Oh, there's the lot. Tells a story, doesn't it? But there we go, from Cornwall. All the best to you, and like I say, like, need, think, eat, or whatever you do with blooming YouTube. I don't know, but it's grey here. But look, the house that I painted this summer, and doing the roofs on the sheds. That's good. And I'm going singing tonight at Hugheswater, so that'll cheer, and a pint of beer or two. All the best to you. One last little look at the poor suffering X19. Oh no, I'm getting too old for this, viewers. And I hope you're not. Bye-bye then. All the best to you. Bye-bye. Let's get this round. Bye-bye.